Okay, so here we have some sparring footage here, so let's dive into it and take a look at it. Again, initial big impact here, and then the drive out. Again, simple. Wish all my matches could go this easily, but we have the initial big impact here. Big impact. Opponent tries to post with his hands and drive, but he can't kind of like break my momentum. And then this lets me get my hands up into his armpits. From there, I can push him up and then just simply drive forward. And by pushing him up, like getting my hands under his armpits and pushing him up, I'm also able to raise him above his kind of belt line, above mine, and get lower on him, thus allowing me to drive through much easier too as well and off balance him. Again, wish all my matches could be that easy. So, strong initial tachi here. I was getting the drive there, but my opponent then got into really good position there in my armpits and was really doing really well, driving me up there and keeping me off balance. But I caught him there just on the edge. So if we go back, we'll see an initial strong tachi here. He's so short that my left hand tends to really go over. If I find it hard finding the place for it because I'm used to dealing with taller guys. But I get the initial impact and I'm able to kind of start driving, and I do get him back a little bit. He posts. He actually gets his hands in my armpits and actually does a really good job driving up and kind of keeping the pressure on me, making it really hard for me to get into a position where I can really kind of like mount a counter. So I'm on the back foot here. He's driving. He's doing a good job keeping control. I'm able to wrestle back a little bit control here and get that hand down. Try to go for the inside. Can't quite get it. I've got the overgrip here. And then I'm trying to drive. He then posts a bit. And then I feel it there. And I step through and just use my raw power just to kind of like force him out with that overhand. So, not necessarily a win of skill, but more of just raw power on the edge there as I catch him with that overhand and use my height and size to advantage. This one's a good back and forth as both of them jockey for position here. And there's a nice fight back and forth here. There's some good hand fighting. And they're both working. And if we go back here, we'll see. We start here. There, a good initial post there, stopping him from getting on the inside, keeping him out of distance, forcing him to fight off balance. There was the snap down attempt there, and I think that's where the initial mistake was made, because he wasn't off balance enough to catch him, and this led him to getting a grip on the belt. Whereas I think if the thrusting and the extension of the arms was continued, he could have won with that and kept his opponent off, and maybe waited a bit longer to try to catch that snap down with better timing. But he went for it, didn't quite catch it. He's able then to get that grip on the belt, and then his opponent gets the overhand grip. Tries to step to the outside. They square up again, and now it becomes a bit of a back and forth as they're trying to each gain position. You have a bit of that sort of hand fighting there and that wrist control to prevent full control on the belt there. They're jockeying for position. Grip has gone on the belt there. They're both fighting. And then there's the big kind of push and drive here. And he just steps out there just ever so slightly here as he gets forced out. Just the heel steps out there. But overall, it was a good match. Good back and forth. Lots of good scrambles. Lots of good fighting there as both guys fought for position and for dominant spot there. Nice, good impact there. Trying a little like hug and chug there, but it didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped. Go for a lift out, and then I get caught with the throw there. So if we back it up here, we'll see initial impact here. I get the grips I like. I get belt grip here. I'm trying to like my little hug and chug there. Trying to force him out there. Doesn't quite work as well as I'd hoped. But what I liked is that it definitely set up into the potential of this lift out here as I bring my hips in and low and try to lift. And I get his feet off the ground a little bit, but not enough. And then as soon as his feet touch, I'm off balance. He catches the momentum and gets me out with that overhand throw there. So, spots I probably could have improved upon here is a little bit more of my drive, especially as I'm trying to drive through with my hips there, and just being a bit more balanced off of like the lift out attempt there. Build up the strength in the hips so I can drive through with them a bit better. Now here, I came in strong. My opponent kind of shifted off on me there and just got me in a better position. I didn't really have anything from there. I couldn't do much. He just caught me in a better position. So we see here, I come in. He shifts to the side there. Gets the belt grip. I try to square up, but by then he's already in on me. He's got the one hand on the belt, head in a good position, other hand in the armpit there, and he's driving, and I just didn't have anything. So, and that happens. Sometimes you just get caught in a bad position. So, but yeah, he did really well there. He set it up really well, got in a good position, and capitalized on it. How we got a little bit more back and forth here. And what was interesting here is we'll back it up here. The taller guy is bent over. He's trying to kind of like almost fight at his opponent's level where he should be trying to stand up more and raise his opponent up using his height as an advantage. And as we see here, he goes in for a throw here with his big overarm there. So he goes for it, but because he's so low, his opponent's able to almost just like keep the pressure on him and then just force him down. He tried to throw from a position he wasn't strong in, and his opponent was able to capitalize on that. Yeah. Always play to your strengths. Don't try to kind of bring yourself down to where your opponent is, especially if you are taller. You want to bring your opponent up to your level. Like, put them in a position where they are at a disadvantage. So here we have he goes for the kind of side step here, the Hanka. But the issue was he did a bit slowly, and he didn't really wait till that kind of last minute to kind of hit it. So his opponent was able to see it and shift. He also didn't use his arms or his hands to help kind of like redirect or control his opponent. So it allowed his opponent to just kind of like come in onto the inside there. So he's got the one overhook there, trying to lift up. They're fighting. He's driving them back as he uses that sort of like overhook to kind of lift up and control that arm. And then he kind of uses his size, pressures him, even without the other hand having a strong grip, as they're grip fighting on the other side there. He's able just to pressure him out. And then he ever so slightly just steps out on the edge there. Much better setup than how he what happened in the last match. He much more played to his strength there. I try to go for the shift there with the Hanka, and this one I get a more successful left out. But if we go back here, I try to shift. I get the hands in there to try to kind of like slap the head and pull it down, but I didn't get it. He then comes in, and luckily I'm able to shift my hand here onto this inside grip here. That gives me an inside and an outside grip. Right hand inside, left hand outside. I'm able to kind of like drive and pressure him with the Yuriki, and then we're on the edge, and we see here I get my feet nice and square. I kind of dip and lower my hips, and then I extend, lock them out, lift them up, step forward. You actually get a really good angle of it here because you can see my hips extend, lock out, almost like the top part of a deadlift. If you've ever done like a wagon wheel deadlift or like a rack pull, how it's almost that sort of like just that lockout of the hips, almost just that top end of a deadlift. And then as soon as he's off, the quick step forward, making sure he's out. And then nice good impact here. We're jockeying for position here. I'm trying to get my head nice and low. I want to try to get my head lower than his, and then I hit with the underarm throw there as he tries to pressure me. So again, if we back up here, there's the initial impact here. I get left hand outside, right hand inside there. And then from here, I'm trying to get my head into a lower position. I want to get it below his, preferably kind of center of his chest. So then I can try to start to set up to drive the Yuriki. But he starts pressuring me. He's pressuring me. And then we're on the edge. And then as I feel him go for that pressure again, he steps forward. I step to the outside of his leg and then catch him with that underhook there. And what's important here is watch what I do with my left hand here. As I shift, it comes off the belt onto his arm, and then I pull his arm through as I'm kind of driving with that underhook. So again, you get that twist. I'm pulling down and kind of forward, helping to plant his weight on his one leg so he can't move, and then driving up and sort of forward with that underhook, forcing him up onto the one leg, and then keeping my body turning through so I keep the pressure on and force him out with that nice underhook there. Not bad. One of my better throws, I'd say.